So in this video, I start wiring the CNC. Just putting up the control board. The positioning is supposed to be 30 millimeters from the left, and it turns out that's pretty much the exact width of the larger wrench. So that made it pretty easy. And then it's just 4 screws. So on the top left, that first one I did, without even realizing it, I cracked the acrylic. It's actually a little crack running behind the screw there. So it's very fragile. I mean, that was not very tight at all, and it just no sound. It's cracked. So the next thing you do is you start connecting the limit switches, going XYZ, plus minus, and then all that gets a little cleaned up a little bit later. And the whole process of wiring took probably 40 minutes, roughly. So again, when you're talking about being up and running in 15 minutes, and we spent an hour and a half assembling the frame, we spent 40 minutes wiring, and then you still need to, download the drivers, make sure the machine's working properly before you're actually up and running. This is not a 15-minute job. But all of this was pretty straightforward. I did have a challenge with the rails, sliding those into position. They didn't just click in, and they went kind of at an angle, and then the way it sat, it didn't sit right. It felt fine at first, and then later it just kind of fell right out. And so I had to keep playing with that. The top one took a while. That side one wasn't as bad once I figured out what I needed to do. So I'm just using the screwdriver to kind of keep it in place down there, make sure it's where it needs to be. And then at that point, I'm showing that the instruction booklet has another error. It's telling me that I need the negative wire for each wire instead of the positive and the negative, or the plus and the minus, I guess is a better way to say it. So just another little glitch in the instructions. These spindle wires, they just clip over a metal connector, and then the rubber shielding just slides over it, very easy. The stop switch, I unscrew the nut, and then there's a square washer that gets inside that recess that holds it in place, and then you click that, and then you have to twist it to reset it. And they give you a pretty large number of those little zip strips, and you can just use those with those zip strip mounts and keep everything kind of tidy. They do warn you that you need that spindle motor to move left and right and up and down, so you want to make sure that the wires aren't in a position where they're going to catch on anything. And they give you like a plastic coil that wraps around the wires. They give you quite a lot of it, and I guess you could do it with every wire, but that felt kind of excessive. There was really only 2 sections that I thought needed it. These tiny little zip strips were also kind of a pain in the butt to tighten down, especially in certain places, like the upper one there that's in the way of the stopper switch. And then take a pair of scissors and clip all the ends, make it neat. And then that's pretty much done, except for that coil that wraps around there. And you start it, and then you can pretty much just twist it, and it'll follow up to where it needs to go. So it wasn't too time consuming. On the next section there, it starts scrolling around only one wire, so I had to tuck that back and fix it. And there's a bunch left over, and then the machine's done.